And then right ahead of me, some dude, I don't know what happened to him, but like the medical people were assisting him. And I was just like, oh my God, like, what if that's me? What if that's me? So I start like kind of like panicking.
The following video does not glorify drug use, but instead, it intends to educate people and create awareness leading to harm reduction by discouraging the abuse of drugs, and maybe even harm elimination by discouraging drug use altogether. This video shows some of the effects psychedelic substances can have on the mind while also highlighting what causes those specific effects or outcomes. However, with that being said, these are random people. Please don't make decisions based on what they say without your own due diligence, and also take note that these substances affect everyone differently, especially those with pre-existing mental conditions.
So I went to this concert and I made some mushroom tea before I went. And so I'm just super used to mushrooms. So I was like, okay, like this is fun, like good or whatever. And I hadn't smoked because like I usually like mushrooms make me not want to smoke weed. So I hadn't smoked in like a while and I used to smoke like every day. And this dude in the crowd comes up and he's got like a bunch of joints. And I'm like, okay, come on now. This is a Kid Cudi concert. I gotta smoke some weed. So I'm just smoking this joint, a big one too, like a gram. And I remember as I'm smoking it, dude, I'm like, oh, this is great. But after a while, it potentiated the shroom so much to the point where a couple hours later, I was getting ego death. And it was the first time I ever mixed the two. And honestly, like, I'm not a fan of mixing. I probably won't mix them again. And it made it a million times stronger. Before then, I honestly kind of felt like the shroom trip had like peaked and I was like just chilling. Like that just brought it to a whole nother level. Well, it was a tea, but I put like 3 grams into the tea.
Do you remember what species?
Yeah, it was penis envy, so it was pretty sweet. It was kinda hilarious looking back, so, like, me and my homie were just in the crowd, and I remember Pusha T coming out, like, right when I was finishing this joint, and then Kid Cudi comes out with him. I feel like Kid Cudi was, like, tripping balls, like, you could just tell, and I was so hyped because I was, like I'm a huge Kid Cudi fan since I was, like, 14, and just seeing him, I go crazy. I'm like, let's go, let's fucking go. And then as soon as like Pusha T comes out, there's this kid they show on the Jumbotron. And I saw this kid earlier, this like fucking 12-year-old kid with an afro, and he's just like running up and down these steps. And I see him again. And I could have sworn this kid just like winks at me. And I'm like, oh shit. And then Pusha T's just performing. And I look behind me, dude, and I just see all the fucking people that had came in since we got there. And I was like, oh my God. And then right ahead of me, some dude, I don't know what happened to him, but like the medical people were assisting him. And I was just like, oh my God, like, what if that's me? What if that's me? So I start like kind of like panicking and I'm like, oh my God, like, dude, I've never been in this environment. And I'm like, I'm tripping ball. And I'm like, fuck, dude. So I go to my friend and I'm like, dude, I'm just gonna go to the bathroom. I didn't tell him what was happening. And dude, it was like the most daunting thing ever having to go through all those fucking people just to get out of there. So I start leaving and I don't know why, man, but like everyone started booing me as I'm like leaving this crowd. And to me, that felt like the whole world was just booing me and being like, you suck. And as I'm leaving, this dude gives me this really, really dirty look. And I'm just like, dude, I'm sorry, man. Like, they all just hated the fact that I was pushing through them. And I get through this crowd, dude. I don't know how. Like, I felt like I was in there for fucking days. Just trying to get through this crowd, trying to like finagle my way around all these people. Dude, it was nuts, man. Like, I am fully amazed that I was able to get through it. I finally get through this crowd. I'm like, fuck, I need to lay down. So I'm looking for somewhere to lay down. I find there's this thing that's selling White Claws, and there's a bunch of bushes behind it. So I climb into these bushes, and I'm just like laying down, dude. I'm like, yo, dude, this is like, I was not expecting to have ego death now. So I'm lying down, and I'm just like, I'm gone. Like, I feel like I broke through off shrooms, which I didn't even know was possible. And I'm just out for a while. Eventually, my friend finds me, and he's just like, "Oh, dude, you're fine. Like, I'm just gonna go." So I'm just lying in this fucking by these bushes. Like I missed a good amount of this music festival, and I finally like start to come to, and I'm like, "Yo, dude, like where? Like I didn't even know where I was at that point." And I finally like kind of get up, and I'm like, "Okay." And I go to this stage, and there's this song playing. There's this girl, 070 Shake, the singer, and she's got this song with Kanye called Ghost Town, and it's like one of my favorite songs, and I didn't even know she was gonna be there. And then there's this line in the song, it's like, I put my hand on the stove to see if I still bleed. And then when she starts singing that line, dude, I just start bursting out into tears. I'm like, oh my God, because for a while, man, having the ego death, like I didn't know what the fuck was happening. I thought I was dead. And so just waking up and hearing that, man, I just start bursting out into fucking tears, man. And yeah, that was my trip, bro.
Well, would you say confidently you had an ego death?
100%. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely one of those things though, like I definitely would not have gone in knowing to have it in that environment. Like if I was just chilling at home or like outside or literally like anywhere else that wasn't that confined with so many people, I would have been like, okay, this is fine. Yeah, like if I wasn't, an experienced psychedelic user, I would not have recommended that for most people, because yeah, like that dude doing in that environment is just like absolute like madness.